The following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness Last Orders, the podcast where we look back into the films our Hallmark favourites, actors and directors would rather forget they were ever involved with. I'm Joe, and with me as always, the proprietor and number one customer of Benny'sBasement.com, it's James.
Yeah, I wish I'd not Googled that now.
And a man whose name spells lank tramp if you shuffle the letters about on some Scrabble tiles.
Oh, bravo.
Thank you. Smart plan.
Also, in reality, listeners, a lank tramp sound.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of plank stuff in there. I was like, lank tramp's better. If you want to keep up to date with any upcoming film choices and that, you can give us a follow on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word, or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. Or if you are just a small town girl living in a lonely world and want to recommend a film to us, you can email us at hallmarkofgreatness@gmail.com. You're right.
Yeah, it's cold, isn't it?
Everyone looks like they're north of the wall at the moment.
I'm freezing, mate.
Technically am.
Well,
I've got like a t-shirt, a hoodie, a scarf, an overcoat. I'm fucking brassic, mate. The heating's on.
Yeah, same, exactly the same. I skinned a tauntaun for this.
yeah,
not bad
I
on
made
the
that joke
outside.
yesterday as well.
Everyone's wearing oodles and I'm not getting one.
Oh, you must. You must.
I bought a house coat so I can pretend I'm a bit like that
Some Scottish woman.
Playboy man,
Oh, right, okay.
No, it is not. It is a smoking jacket.
but less dog shit in my house. Yeah.
And less hepatitis B in the grotto.
Oh, that's
In
why
the
they call
back.
it grot. Oh, yeah. He was a dirty boy. It's nearly Christmas, but you know what? We don't care. We're sick of Christmas. So we've gone back in time to revisit a long-time friend of ours and absolute menace. (1982's) The Aftermath. Written, directed, catered, starring, stunts by, choreography, theme tune sang by the absolute fucking lunatic that is Steve Barkett, who you may remember from our previous episode,
Empire of the Dark.
Empire of the Dark.
Yeah, we found him on Dinosaur Island, and then we were like, he's done 2 films, watched one, blew our minds.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah,
This
I think
is-
you missed a man that set fire to and then drove through some empty boxes as well.
That's Big Father Ted energy.
Yes, it's come to that.
This I think this is his magnum opus. This is his masterpiece of a film because it is fucking insane on every conceivable level. It veers between artistic styles. There's like the most bombastic score to scenes that do not require a score.
It is easily the most epic film we have covered, whilst also being the smallest film we've ever covered. It's astonishing.
Yeah, nothing really happens, but a lot happens.
If it made 10 quid, it still made a profit. I'm sure of that.
Oh, you're thinking of the rocket, are you?
Oh, I've got loads. I've got loads here. I'm going to have to share with you, listeners and fellow co-hosts, of course. This is the best fun I have had with anything we've watched. I'm not saying it's the best thing we've watched, but I have just finished watching this. I finished watching this about 10 minutes before we started this, and I'm still reeling. I am reeling from how it made me feel. It was like a fucking roller coaster.
Told you. It's definitely one for the list. But James, first, let me The audience is now deaf.
Was that
That's
you?
nice and toasty warm now. Yeah, that's the sound of the ultra scenario contrivance of understanding, everyone, as it's decided it is called today. And it thinks that this is about Genevieve Aftermath, a small town dog handler who ends up participating in a local charity bake-off, or else an orphanage will explode. The plot thickens when Genevieve encounters Jeffrey Nose, a geezer who makes everything into an aimless little song. Things become complicated when the Medici family make a comeback, unleashing a band of vengeful Jesuits, and the couple must work together. Will they hook up at a filthy motel and squidge bits? Better not to tell you now.
I mean, I'm very much liking the Mystic 8-Ball endings of these. All signs point to yes.
All signs point to exploding orphans.
Oh,
Yeah.
she doesn't have to win the baking contest. She just has to participate in it to save the deal.
Exploding orphanages being somewhat of a callback to Santa with Muscles last Christmas's podcast.
Oh, God, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Dog handler could be any number of things, but that seems to me to be similar to Unleashing Mr.
Unleashing
Darcy,
Mr. Darcy.
Oh,
and
where a dog was famously the breadth of one man's hand. That's
One
another
man.
good one.
One man's hand. The actual synopsis for this, if you don't remember from the episodes previously featuring Steve Barkett, an astronaut battles mutant cannibals after returning from space to find Earth ravaged by nuclear and biological war. Worst kinds of war. I forgot he was an astronaut, to be honest.
So
at
did
one
he.
point. Yeah, I mean...
He is barely an astronaut. Like he's an astronaut for maybe about 2.5 minutes.
Two and a half of the most comically underfunded moments of the entire film.
It looked like Muppet Babies.
Well, let's fucking get into this then, eh? Right. We open with a red, blue, and like cerise sky and aftermath. And then this boom, 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 ba 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 score. But it's like, what the fuck is going? What is this about? If it was like an old Hammer horror film, that would be suitable music for it.
What instruments do you think Steve Barkett learned to be able to do that? Because it's not mentioned in the credits, but I'm certain he played all the instruments. So I wrote the theme tune, sang the theme tune.
Played them all simultaneously.
No, apparently he spent a good third of the budget on getting a good film score, which is probably the least important bit of it all. He just
12 quid getting a film score.
And Ennio Morricone wasn't doing anything else that week.
Yeah, unless you want, right, okay. Oh, just bombastic, right? No levels, nothing like that. No, all right.
I was disappointed at this point that I couldn't get closed captions because that meant that there's going to be no Mr. Japan like the first one. Where it's supposed to be Guy Zupan. But yeah, I was really encouraged by the fact that the credits, and there are a lot of them at the start, list model builders. And I thought, this is going to be good. And also additional space effects.
That was the effect of the ship on the string.
Space effects and additional space effects.
Was the additional space effects the one where Tim Curry goes into space for communism?
But we open on, did we get the name of the ship?
I think it's the Nautilus, just like the Nautilus production company that Steve Barkett was using at this point.
Oh, I thought it was a reference to...
Well, ultimately, it's a reference to Jules Verne, isn't it?
I thought it was a Jules Verne reference, but yeah, I didn't realise he'd named his company. Oh, that's cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's this and Empire of the Dark. No other films, as far as I can tell.
When you've just struck gold twice, like you don't tempt fate by going for a third.
I wouldn't tell the tax authorities that it struck gold.
All right, when you've been struck by lightning twice, you don't hang around near big trees.
So, is this the end of the Barkett cast that may come out of this podcast, or is there a potential still?
Well, actually, this is an earlier film, so just to set the scene a little bit. So we did Empire of the Dark. That was released in 1990. This is 1982, but actually it was shot 4 years before that, which explains...
He sat on it for 4 years.
Yes, and we'll come to that. But that explains why he's kidding it. In Empire of the Dark, he's Jeffrey Dahmer. He's a young 20-something who looks just like Jeffrey Dahmer. It's that kid.
Wow.
The Barkett nepotism machine rolls on. Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
I thought you were going to say, which explains, it's been sat on it for 4 years, which explains why the effects are so shonky.
I knew he was in it.
No, but the effects are like so shonky. And it was made in 1978. I mean, Star Wars was made in 77, lads.
Yeah.
Star Wars had a budget.
But I saw Christopher Barkett and I thought, it's that kid again. But he is an actual kid in this. I was like, that's not 8 years before his next appearance.
Stood about looking like a tiny baby John Denver. Yeah. Oh, right. Because I was too busy laughing at the music. Like, I missed most of the credits because I was just too busy going, what is this? This is terrifying. But yes, they're on this spaceship. They've been gone for a year, he says. What, is it, who, is he, no, what's he called?
I don't know, because there were three of them.
There's
All right,
three of them.
Newman's one of them.
Yeah.
And then I didn't catch the name of one of them, and then I thought the other one
think-
was both Dave and Matthews. So I put him down as Dave Matthews.
Dave
right,
Matthews.
Yeah, that's why he's in his little isolation tank the whole way through.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I think that, now I know that it was 4 years of him sitting on it. Did he reshoot that to include
he
this
did.
random dude?
Yeah,
Yes.
who doesn't show up in the film.
He dies on impact, Mark.
He
Of
dies
course he does.
prone.
He dies.
Yeah, he just appears on a little
Where is he?
chunky
Is he the
telescreen.
gunner?
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
he's just lying down.
He's
doing
the
some
one that
proper like Jacob Rees-Mogg in the House of Commons lying down sort of thing.
he stokes the boiler.
Right. Okay. He's the Scotty of the team.
That's exactly right.
He's checking after the dilithium crystals. Yeah, and
He's
they
informing them about some kind of space error. I don't know. There's like a radio malfunction.
yeah. So they've been
Space
gone a
is not
year.
additional.
They've
It
been
needs
gone a
more
year
addition.
on a mission that isn't fully explained.
Yep.
I think just space. See what happens if you put 3 men in space for a year.
What happens if you put 3 men in a milk bottle, essentially? Because that's what it was.
How dare
It looked
you.
like a Blue Peter.
It did look like some
It
sticky
did.
back plastic, and you can make your own Tracy Island. Yeah. And as they're coming back, Matthews says there must be an error. We've been gone a year, and I want to come back a hero, and now no one's there. It must be an error, and all the radio stations on the world have gone dead. And I was like, foreshadowing there, Matthews.
Thank God they edited you in at the last minute.
Do you reckon? Because they were like, look,
from his bath.
none of this makes from his bath.
It's like he's in a bath. Just put my
Steve
candles
Barkett's on the phone. I'm going to come round, get in the bath.
I'm going to come round. No, I'm in the bath. Doesn't matter.
I'll
We
make
just
it
need
work.
these shots.
So there's supposed to be like a tractor beam or something that helps them land.
I didn't get any of this. I think
Well,
I
it's
was probably
interspersed.
laughing at the ships on a string.
It is bad.
It
The
is.
interior is bad. It's
Fireball
primary colours,
XL5. Yeah, it's
buttons and stuff. It's interspersed with a gang chasing down an old man, a woman who needs very badly to have another layer of clothing over
a
tank
bra
top.
at least would have helped.
I'd
Oh,
written
it's
nips!
bad.
Exclamation mark. They also nick the music off that Planet of the Apes bit where they get them in the cornfield, and it's just I've written it's footage of people running in circles to circus music.
They do run in circles. There's a bit where the camera's circling this man in a very tight.
How are you
Running
meant to
circle.
escape by running in a circle?
There's so much people running, stopping, and then running again. It's tremendous.
And then Hillbilly
lots of
Andy
lassos
Samberg
as well.
lassos somebody.
Yeah, so many lassos. I put that his mate looked like Joey Ramone at this point. He lassos a man. The woman gets lassoed. Lassos for all.
It's the lasso gang. Yeah, big fat guy gets beaten to the ground. There's a woman and a child
Yes.
who hide in like a hedge and then pop out as well, which made me chuckle.
The old man basically gets hit by a rifle
Rifle
butt
butt.
in the mouth, and I looked and I thought, do you think they hired him because he'd got no front teeth, basically
Very
for being hit in the
possibly.
gob, and it was cheap?
Yeah, he had to bring his own red food colour in as well for that. It's
So
very
much jam.
vibrantly red. It's not quite right.
There's a lot of tomato ketchup in this.
It's biological warfare. Everyone's blood's gone really red.
Yeah,
You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they basically round up quite easily. Not enough dirt bikes for a post-apocalyptic world, I will say. Like you expect that, don't you? Oh,
They were expensive in the late 70s.
yeah, I guess that's why everyone's just got like a Challenge Annika style Jeep. But they round all those people up while the astronauts are trying to land. We're just going to have to do it manually, and I was hoping for an inanimate carbon rod at this point as well. We didn't get one.
There's a lot of interspersing, and it was at this point I was like, I remember Empire of the Dark now. Do you remember how many establishing shots there were in that?
Yep.
It's not quite that bad, though. I don't know why his filmmaking capabilities just deteriorated over the course of the 80s, but I'm going to blame Coke.
Cocaine, yeah, that's where I was.
He changed style. He became a fan of the French art house movement, and nah, it's just Coke, mate. Fuck tons of Coke.
This bit here astounded me because it's just a matter of, yep, we're going to round up the women and we're just going to kill the men. And they blow this dressmaker's dummy's head off.
Oh, mate, that made me fucking pop so hard. That's proper trauma stuff, that.
I was like, yes, please.
Yeah, it's very early for stuff like that as well. For like proper nasty stuff, even though it doesn't look nasty because it's all very obviously fake.
I mean, unless your head's made of polystyrene.
And do you think that really was Eric Cantona in charge?
How dare you? That's legendary actor Sid Haig.
It is as Cutter. Why has he got that name? Oh well, you'll find out.
Surely he should be called Raper.
He should be called, yeah.
He does a lot.
He does a lot of sexual assaults.
Just
sexual assault as well.
The chuckling raper, yeah, because he just giggles a lot as well. But to be fair to him, he is, I'd say, young in this, but he still looks about 52, doesn't he? Like,
he plateaued on an age, didn't he? Yeah.
He got the Clive Dunn syndrome, yeah.
Yeah. Different parts to be typecasted.
Not that different, because there's no doubt these women don't like it up on Captain Mannering.
No. So yeah, they've managed to kidnap.
Managed
to kidnap Nipples, the woman, and the child.
Yeah.
They round up all the men. Yeah, they tie them up, and then they just fucking leather them with bullets. Like instead of just shooting them in the back, bullets. Again, post-apocalyptic world, everything's in short supply. They waste so much ammunition in this film, unless they're making it like in Mad Max. It's But yeah, I liked this when they just done a murder on them. It was fun.
Meanwhile, the astronauts are trying to get back to Earth, and they do this by pressing the ignition button, which is above the retro sequence button, which I liked as a button that you could just have.
You press that, and then
a little disco ball comes down.
4 different coloured panels light up, and you have to replicate the sequence.
Yes.
Simon.
Fuck this. This is
And they fail miserably at that, and they end up having some indoor fireworks go off. They press the indoor fireworks button instead.
Well, that's because the dial went all the way up to 500. 500 what? We'll never know.
But this dial goes up to 500.
Don't even look at it. Yeah, I think that was supposed to be like the external temperature of the. But again, it didn't say that. It just kept going up, and things going up temperature gauge wise is never good, is it?
I didn't know that's what it was supposed to be. Is the gauge of things happening is
going
up?
It could be the retro button. When it gets to 500, everyone gets like an afro.
Turntable comes out, and I really love the camera zooming up on the emergency flash thing. It's like there's an emergency going on. Something's jammed. A man is dead after being spaffed at by sparks to the face.
I assume that must have been Matthews.
Yes.
I thought
that has to
be
be Matthews. Well, no, because the other one we see later in the film.
Yeah.
I thought that was Dave Matthews. Anyway, one of them dies.
Yeah, they have a bit of a roll around in the surf. It's like that classic film scene where Burt Lancaster's having a bit of action in the surf. It's the same scene, except this one didn't win an Oscar. From Here to Eternity.
Yeah, and there's less sexing. This will win an Oscar when I'm in charge, retroactively.
What? Well, you press that retroactive button and it wins an Oscar. That's great.
One just pops down. That's what got jammed in the engine.
Right now. So you remember in Empire of the Dark where he's trying to escape the cavern and he sets that timer for the bomb and it starts from 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it very slowly declines from there until he's got 12 seconds to go when he eventually gets out of the cavern.
And then he does a jump. Yeah.
He does.
Not how it's supposed to go because there's ages until the bomb goes off then. Well, this countdown starts from 50 and then at one point, I swear to God, it goes back up just like the Steam download timer.
Yeah, I thought it did as well, but I was too busy laughing at just the antics of it all.
This bottle rocket, this milk bottle, sorry.
It is like literally as it flies along, you can see the wire. It's delightful. Bless them, they tried.
It hits the water at this point as well. What does that look like?
Looks like someone's throwing a spaceship into a paddling pool.
It's Nipples, as you called her, Sarah, who appears a bit later in the film. That actress, Lynn Margulies, it's her dad's swimming pool.
All right, wow.
Yeah.
Dad,
so
Dad, I'm in a film. What's your character called? Sarah the Nipple Sarah. Okay. Oh, also we need to use the pool. Why?
What do you need?
Don't ask. Just do it. So Newman, Steve Barkett, him and his moustache survive intact. and wash up on a beach that is this the same beach as Planet of the Apes? Because it looks
is.
fucking like it.
is, yeah.
Is right? Okay, I thought it was Fleetwood. I thought, put your watch back 70 years, son.
Yeah, he comes out and he's like, I can't climb up the sheer cliff face, and then proceeds to climb up the sheer cliff face.
Yeah, no.
He describes it as hundreds of feet high as well, and it's not. It's 25 foot high.
He also does the best little jump.
It's one of his signature hop, skip, and jumps that he does in other films.
It's delightful. It's literally, ooh, it's so good.
And there's like a rock that falls off the precipice as well.
Yeah. Filmed from a high up angle.
Maybe 5 foot down to the waves.
You get quite a twisted ankle. For some reason, he comes across another beach, so he must have fallen off or something.
He decides that he's going to follow the coast, he says. He's got a voiceover.
Oh,
Loves
this
voiceovers.
voiceover.
It's like a noir film, isn't it? Like a noir detective film.
Yeah,
Unnecessary.
He even sounds like Ron Swanson.
He sounds bored by his own voice. But
I decided to speak about myself in the third person.
This is the only film I've ever seen where the narration changes to someone else at the last second.
It's that art house.
It's that wild. Yeah.
That inconsistent.
We come to the beach scene.
They come to the beach.
And now
Wow.
I thought the bottle rocket was bad.
Oh, he's just stumbled across the resting ground of Milky Joe and the Coconuts.
These he just does this whole thing. I couldn't climb, so I hop, skipped, and jumped to a murder beach. Okay.
I thought, is this that M. Night Shyamalan film where all the people age really quickly?
Arguably, this is a better film.
It was all right. No,
I liked it. I had a great time.
The baby murder I could have done without.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
There's a man fishing from way far back, and then some dead people who were also there.
They look like sand sculptures dressed in old clothes. Like
Yes.
someone had made them and put them outside Home Bargains with a cap on the ground, waiting for a few tips.
I paused the film just to write something down and coincidentally paused it at the point where it's like a sand person with a bikini on just going,
Yeah.
and we'll need to put the picture up because nobody can see that, obviously.
I'll see if I can find it. If
But
not,
me and
I'll have to
Kate had a
screenshot
good
it.
5-minute laugh just at where it had frozen alone. And
It's beautiful.
you could watch this at any point and freeze it and just do exactly that because it is just ridiculous.
He wants to be careful though, because sand people, they generally tend to hunt in numbers. So
Hurt, hurt. He goes,
yeah.
I've got some stuff here I can nick.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
So one of the
First
things
instinct.
he gets is a tank of what?
Kerosene.
Yeah. Kerosene, yeah.
I'm hoping that whatever he gets later, whatever vehicle he gets later, can do 50 hectares and a full tank of kerosene.
Who takes kerosene to the beach?
And he
it's not
promptly
only that they've got
never
on them.
uses it.
They also carry a blanket, some carrots, a machete, a radio, and what I'm going to assume is some shallots.
Okay, so they were having
alright.
they're going to have a fry up on their kerosene stove. The radio as well. Now I have a way of communicating with the outside world. Radios are one way, mate. Like,
Yeah.
commercial radios like that with a yellow sticker
This
on it
is
with your
Lonely
name
Soldier.
written on it as well.
But he had a
Steve-
brilliant radio system on this futuristic rocket that fell into a pool and couldn't get any radio. Why does he think he's going to get somebody on this little thing?
He scrolls through it. It's got a big yellow sticker on it that says Steve Barkett's radio as well.
It does.
In case there's any argument on set about whose it was. One of the sand people tried to nick it.
He later finds Dave Matthews, who's washed up as well as an actor and as a person. And then they silently meet and then silently climb up a hill. And the silence is deafening. There is no dialogue at all for about 3 minutes.
They've nothing
I
to say to
thought-
each other.
I was certain at this point that they'd nicked another bit from Planet of the Apes and the guy had lost his voice box or something. He couldn't talk. I thought, oh, God, get some new ideas, won't you? And it turns out they've just got nothing to say to one another.
Dialogue's hard to write, as we find out. As we found out up to this point as well.
And then we get the campfire scene where they're eating beans.
Fine.
There's another choice bit of dialogue. I'd forgotten about this. And Dave Matthews says, finally, breaking his silence, "Oh, I wish we'd made it to the top for sunset." What?
He wanted to have a
talking
nice romantic sunset. Him and Newman could have had a cuddle, isn't it? Everything's legal in the new world. As we find out, Yeah, there was again, whether this was improvised or whether they just went fuck it, whatever. Like, because it's an odd
Say something
thing to say.
dramatic.
Do you want the writing credit?
Oh, I wish we were at the top so I could see. Oh, I wish I were at the top so we could see the sunset, Mother.
Isn't that the name of one of the songs in the Monster Bash?
But yeah, and during the night they proceed to fall asleep and are assaulted by the Grateful Dead.
I noticed that Catweasel tried to machete him, and then he chops his arm off. He's got an arm off.
It's only a flesh wound. Right, yeah, they creep up on him and they they step on a twig, which invariably wakes up Newman's like fucking ninja reflexes he has. A fight ensues. And Newman's go-to response is to set a dude on fire.
You know, I love to see a man on fire.
It was beautiful. In fact, he went up like a stick of kindling, though.
Like he'd been covered in kerosene.
Oh, do you reckon?
That's where it was. Yeah.
Yeah, he lightly tapped him with that torch, and the next minute he was flame on. Well, yeah. But they survived the fight. The remaining Grateful Dead run away. And then they go back to sleep. Oh well, fuck
yeah,
it.
they do. They do.
They won't come back now.
It's morning.
That'll learn them.
Dave Matthews wakes up and then suddenly notices that there's a massive, big ruined city there. It was really funny.
They head off to Bolton Town Centre. I've written.
I think they go over the top of the cliff, up the next little hill, like 25 foot. They could have walked, but you know. And then you get this huge destructed city that looks pretty good, to be fair.
It's only a model.
It is only a model, but possibly the best effect in this film.
Yeah, definitely. No, I absolutely agree.
And he's like, no!
You idiots! You blew it up.
Damn you all to heck. Yeah, but he doesn't. He just goes, oh well.
Yeah, they scrummage around this beaten up set. This could have been Urban Decay from anywhere. It could have been Rotherham the other night.
Could have been Detroit.
Oil can fire.
What do you mean the other night? Every night?
Well, yes.
But they make their way through and we get another bit of voiceover where he's saying there was nobody around, not even bodies. And I was like, oh yeah, why are there no bodies?
Radiation.
I ain't got nobody.
Is it not to imply that the Grateful Dead are cannibals?
Yes, I think so.
Only because it says mutant cannibals.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's never comes to anything.
Nope. Because it's not. It buries the lead in the synopsis because it doesn't say and also like war party rape gang as well, does it? No,
that's quite a little bit harder to sell.
Yeah, but this is like video nasty territory, isn't it? Like it's Anyway, they fanny about for ages.
They find the Civil Defence radio station.
Right.
And it says on it, oh, go on.
This Civil Defence Research Station, which is right at the top of this hill. I'm going up to the top of this hill to get to the research station. And as he gets to it, and we go to, he's in the alley from They Live. You can see a city street right behind him.
Oh, I was laughing at that. I was laughing at the fact that he goes, I'm going to go up there. He scales over this 9-foot tall fence when there's a very low 3-foot fence just to the side of it.
Ah, right. Okay. I was laughing at the fact that it said no trespassing, California Penal Code 602. And I thought, you don't really need to spell out the penal code. You just put no trespassing.
Go on. What's Penal Code 602?
Well, it is that. It's no trespassing. But then I went down a rabbit hole of looking at the Californian Penal Code because there's all sorts of madness in there. There's Penal Code 22410 PC, which is possession of shurikens. There's petite treason, not petty treason, petite treason, excusable homicide, mayhem, hazing, pimping,
homicide
pandering,
and mayhem.
Pimping, pandering, gaming, disturbing a meeting, grand theft person, similar to the game, eavesdropping, and then my personal favourite is aggressive panhandling.
Sorry, can we go back to Grand Theft Panda or whatever it was?
Grand Theft person. Is that where you just, come on, Granny, you're coming with me? You just lift them up and take them home, and they're yours now.
How does Grand Theft Person differentiate? How do you differentiate between that and kidnap?
The controls are different because it's on a different system. And
invert your y-axis.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe that eavesdropping's on there as well. If you overhear somebody saying something, that is apparently illegal.
I mean, there was a load of bonkers stuff in there.
Yeah.
Pandering
Excusable
was one, I
homicides.
believe.
Yeah, pandering.
Homicide and Mayhem, who I'm fairly sure were in ECW for a long while.
Hazing as well. Hazing for student bodies and stuff like that. Illegal.
Really?
That's Penal Code 245.6, which is very specific in itself.
Punishable by hazing?
Being forced to do a beer bong.
Oh,
You get panhandled for that.
so extreme panhandling.
Aggressive panhandling is
With
what it
Robson,
says.
with Jerome Flynn.
Yeah, I thought that was another nice 100 things moment. So
Indeed, indeed. And why the hell is your barn coming on this when it could be changed? That's what I want to know.
What I quite like about my Google search history now is that I've Googled a lot of dodgy shit for this, and then I followed it up with the penal code.
He's prepared to do the time for the crime.
Reckless
If you get
Googling.
arrested and you're like, I believe that's not the correct penal code, sir, and therefore it's not lawful. Good day. Like a what do they call it? Freeman of the land sort of bollocks you get here.
Yeah.
Sovereign
Right to roam.
citizens. Sovereign citizens in America, I believe they're called. But yeah, similar thing, different dickhead. And so he goes up there and finds. I think he nicks a radio.
He listens first of all to this guy has died, and his line is, I wondered what was so important. He used his dying breath to record it, and then he plays the tape and it goes.
It would have been good if it was just like, go do just something like,
That would be
just him.
such a good thing for What the Dub, wouldn't it?
Oh, just him doing his type 5 for the Comedy Store. So anyway, what's the deal with peanuts on a plane? My mother-in-law. But no, he explains that there's been a nuclear and biological and other things war, and there's roving
Done little
gangs.
sketches as well to accompany the tape.
He did. He put a lot of work into this in his dying days.
This is what I imagine the Golden Gate Bridge would look like if it was fucked and stuff like that.
He went out and had a look, even though, they are in LA. They're supposed to be in LA,
Yeah.
which is not near San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he says that there's roving gangs of bastards. All the world's dead, basically. My God, what have we done?
yeah. So then they have a bit of a shave. They notice that there's a Geiger counter lying about. So he has that.
Because in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, I want to maintain my grooming.
Yeah.
He's got to show off that
fabulous
fantastic
moustache.
tash. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And this next scene absolutely cemented it for me, because it opens with jaunty music as they head to Roman Polanski's house to kill Sharon Tate.
It is very. I thought this was the house from Thingy, to be honest, from Monster Mash.
Oh, right, yeah.
No,
could
I
be.
think it's a bit nicer than that, really. It's Ted Michael's house. And Ted Michael, in case...
Why has everyone got two first names in this film?
What twat.
It might be Mikkel. He's the producer or co-producer of the film. So it's all like mates rate stuff, all of this. It is a very nice house, though.
Everything else, the rest of the city is a wreck. And this place is full of ancient treasure, paintings, candlesticks. It's got a working gramophone. There's leather-bound books. It
got
should
an
be in
owl
a
statue.
museum. Yeah.
It's got Roman bust, a helmet, a portrait of the Laughing Cavalier is in there, presumably the original.
Of course.
Well, it could be like Last Man on Earth, where he just collects all the stuff and puts it in his house. Because why wouldn't you? But no, it is slightly messy, and they have to tidy it up because we get a fixing it up montage.
Yes.
just needed a little robot to try and kill them all as they were doing when a malfunctioned robot.
But my favourite thing about this is that there is a corpse in the doorway, and then they do like a sweeping it up montage, and presumably he's just swept the corpse away.
High five!
They do a lot of fixing it up as well, like putting in defences and things like that.
Well, they nail some planks to the roof. I think that's. Oh,
Yeah.
and Newman takes his top off.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. And Matthews puts the bronze head back on the plinth
Where it belongs.
because you need that, don't you? Like in your house.
Is that the one where they lift their head up and they press the button, the red button, and I don't know.
Back pole of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd have been sweet. But yeah, there's this big long montage of this.
He starts broadcasting out as well. He's finally got some equipment, presumably from the research station. And then he decides to open up about his dead son to Dave Matthews, who says that he's a nihilist and that he should get out.
Yeah, basically. And so he goes for a walk, takes the Geiger counter with him. Goes
yeah.
for just a fun romp about.
Takes the kerosene with him as well.
It's pet kerosene. It's like a pet rock that now. It saved
He's
his
got
life
a gun
more than
now
once.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they found like guns and
Just
stuff.
accruing stuff. Yeah.
And he goes just for a walk near a big museum, and then the Geiger counter starts going mental, and he runs
To Joseph's Technicolor storm.
This red storm. Yeah.
Yeah, right, which is not explained, and the Geiger counter's going off. And so he goes, panics, runs towards the museum, can't open the door, but he's under shelter because there's like a vestibule sort of thing. Shoots the lock off at very close range with the shotgun, which is dangerous, and goes inside, right? But I'm like, is it supposed to imply that the rain is radioactive?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I
Right,
think so.
okay.
But it's okay because he's hiding in the Museum of Forced Perspective.
The Museum of Sexual Assault. There's so many dark areas people could grab you in this thing. It's
a bit weird.
terrifying.
Yeah, it's a dark place with a spotlight on various papier-mâché animals.
That's right.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
Like a snooker hall.
Like who?
Yes.
Why would I go to this museum? It's not even like bones of a dinosaur. It's just somebody's
what a
mock-up.
dinosaur would look like. Yeah.
If it was made out of paper, if it was made out of the Times, you know.
He comes in and he's like, phew, that was close. Best have a kip on the floor.
Yeah.
This nightmare is a nightmare. He has a nightmare about his family backing away from him slowly.
Oh, his family are the backwards walking hide and seek champions of the world.
and then out of nowhere there's this door. What's behind the green door? And he has a look, and what is behind the green door? Skeletons. Not Acker milk. Pissed, like I thought it was going to be.
And he looks at that point, if anything, aroused because he does a little mustache twitch.
He loves skeletons. They're his favourite.
And then he wakes up and he does another big sweep of whatever this place is. And he meets the boy, Chris, who is his own son, Christopher.
Chris, yeah. Imagine
big part for him.
I thought it was Ricky Schroeder in The Champ.
I thought it was that little fucker from the Brady Bunch. Like, it could be any sort of 70s bowl-headed kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought, is it going to be like a creepy kid who lures him into a trap? Nope. And then his fucking guardian appears, who's like...
Yeah, the museum curator appears. And he prattles on about Egyptians, because they go from the dinosaur room into the Egypt room, one of 3 rooms in this museum, with an enormous gulf of time between each one.
Don't worry about it.
He talks about how the Egyptians became swallowed by their own technology, which is bullshit anyway, because that didn't remotely happen.
How do you know?
Well, I know that, and I also know that they didn't have cannon technology either, and there's a cannon in there, because he points to it as like...
That man thought that cannon was good.
He said that humanity's been destroyed by atoms and germs. What irony. And I put, what irony indeed.
It's a lot of
blind after
irony.
a lifetime of being able to see.
Yeah. Again, this felt very much like it was supposed to be profound, but wasn't. And then it made me think, like, is this the sort of film that Neil Breen has watched and has just taken as like this?
It's got a little bit of Ancient Aliens in there.
Yeah. But
loved it.
He's like, you'll have to look after Christopher now because I've got a big red hand.
He says, you're an astronaut. I don't have to tell you what this means. It shows him his red hand. And he goes, oh yes, space hand aids. I don't know.
Oh, you've got big old red handyitis.
Anyway, I'm going off to die. Goodbye.
He says, yeah, you go off and have a kit. And Christopher goes like, no, don't. He says, no, I need to go to sleep. But also, is this where they get the laser gun from?
I don't know.
All I've written is, where the fuck does she get a Martian ray from?
Yeah.
I didn't spot this. Because
I've completely forgotten that scene was in that film because that laser gun never appears before or after.
run out of batteries.
His plan is, he says, I planned to make one more exhibit of man's future, but that's never going to happen now because of my red-handedness. And you kind of like, okay.
Maybe he's turning into Hellboy.
Oh, that would be pretty good.
That'd be better, wouldn't it? Yeah, he goes sort of cut her out.
Yeah.
I think it is because when he goes into the room, there is an astronaut stood there with.
Yes,
like
there was. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's the ray gun.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think.
Oh, okay.
But I might be getting it confused with Demolition Man. So.
The woman, Sarah, who hasn't been properly introduced yet, she's getting pushed around by Eric Cantona.
Yeah, so
it's not a nice scene.
I'd actually written, oh no, Brother Barry's here to finish her off. She'll be in a ditch blowing a dog by the end of this. And then realised it was cut.
Yeah.
Is he wearing a red thong here, by the way? When he takes his vest off, you just get a bit of a flash of the whale tail at the back.
Oh, I don't know. I was deliberately trying not to watch this because it was a bit sort of he forces her down on the bed and does like some aggressive kissing on her.
Yeah,
takes his top off.
And it's just weird.
There's a lot of wiggling.
He gets his though because she stabs him in the neck. She bottles him in the neck where he holds his face and then bleeds from his back.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Wow.
Space bottle.
Also, if you were gonna like jar someone, she lightly grazes him with this bottle. Which
takes the opportunity to fuck off though.
But then she runs and he pulls a gun from somewhere and has a shot at her. She runs off, but she runs off into the night, and he's like, "Oh, it's just cold shower again." Then. Fuck it up. It was an awful scene. Like
it was so bad.
Yeah, I know it's the 70s and they have to put these things in for sort of titillation, but bad Sid Haig.
We cut anyway to Newman and Chris going out on their first venture, a salvaging mission where Chris finds the shitty saucepan, and then he has to Newman's like, "The fuck do I want that for?" Oh no, sorry, that's a really important find, and tucks it into his jacket like that.
I had a revelation here. I'd noticed that not only are they in the Jeep, which changed colour 3 times in the film, by the way. I don't know if anyone noticed this. It was green Jeeps. At this point, and then it went red, and then it went brown.
No, they were at a green Jeep, and then they ran over to the red Jeep. I'm assuming so that Christopher could use his special powers that Newman had been teaching him.
Yeah,
like in the dark. This is how you get petrol out.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But in this Jeep, this Green Army Jeep, he was also dressed like Rick in the old Incredible Hulk cartoons, and I was like, has he just ripped this off from those 60s Incredible Hulk cartoons? He's got the hat and the full green outfit. What?
Barkett just living his fantasies at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they go over to the red Jeep to try and steal petrol or just have a look at it. Red Jeep, green Jeep.
It is a nice
Bluefish.
It's a much better
nice
one. It was in
work.
mint condition as well, almost like there'd been no kind of either a biological or
atomic
bomb that had gone off. Yeah.
But as they're poking about in it, a big long rifle pokes out of some curtain.
Yeah.
It's like the Joker's pistol in Batman 1989.
And pew! It hits Newman, but luckily his frying pan saves him. Non-stick.
Oh, very good. And then he turns to the kid and he says, a very important piece of advice. No matter what happens, you stay here till I get back. And then that piece of advice gets very out of date very quickly. But
they're back, aren't they?
He goes behind the gunman. He somehow sneaks into the building and sneaks up on her.
He does some good running and then goes against a wall.
Yeah.
And then the next minute he's behind her. And I'm like, now this is before Full Metal Jacket, isn't it? So we're not going to get that.
I've written it. It's the fucking Viet Cong. They use women as well. Yeah, it's genius.
He runs in and it's Sarah. She's got a rifle. She still hasn't got a bra. But she's like, no, you're going to take me back to Cutter. And he's like gripping her.
She says something like, do what you will or something, because I know that's how it is out here sort of thing, which is very... problematic now.
He only realizes that he's there because he slips on 2 bullets that are specifically placed together to roll off one another when he stands on them, and that causes, for some reason, only his arm to fire up in the air and shoot into the ceiling instead of him actually falling.
Yeah, but they have this fight, and he goes, "No, I'm here to save you."
I'm a savior. Yeah,
I am white Jesus. With a big old police chief mustache. And she's like, "Oh, okay, then fair enough." And then outside, the Grateful Dead return.
Watch out, Chris. He's dressed like a yacht captain and he's got half a plank of wood in his hand.
And Chris is like, you told me to stay here no matter what, but then this has happened. So what do you want me to do? I'll just run off then.
And he goes, ah! Newman looks out the window and goes, oh, this fucking kid. Right. Runs down, like, Sarah provides covering fire, and like they kill and run off most of them. There is a lot of hitting them with planks.
There's a bit where one of them jumps into the Jeep and then just gets shot in the face.
That was fun, yeah.
That was good, yeah. And they're like, all right, let's take everyone back to Dave Matthews' house because I finally found how to be
a replacement family.
Yeah.
Is this where we get the cut to Cutter's gang again? And they've ambushed a family, right?
It really is as simple as they get to the house and then Sarah immediately has no trousers on and she says, for the first time, I feel safe. And I put, well, you shouldn't. But she does. And she asks him about love, and they do deep kissing and some horrible, weird, writhing sex. Like
bum touching as well. Yeah. We get to see boobs as well at this point because obviously we have to. Yeah.
Yep.
But she falls in love very quickly, does Sarah?
And then my favourite part of this is that he immediately changes into his sexual conquest trousers.
Like Ron Swanson in his red shirt. Yeah.
I'd written Christmas jammy bottoms, very high waisted.
Very high waisted. I've got a little neat fact for you. This belongs
pirate pants.
This belongs to the producer's son, and they had to use that because they'd lost the actual costume that he was supposed to wear. So he just
put some children's pants on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Barkett's a menace.
Statement trousers as well.
And then he goes and has a little drink and
a cuddle with the kid.
And a cuddle with Christopher.
Yeah.
Post-coital.
And he
hanging out with a kid.
Don't be afraid. He said, there's no need to be afraid. I was afraid once. You were afraid. He said, yeah, there was a bully and he'd beat me up, I don't know, maybe twice a week. And you can like, look, at least make it seem fucking plausible, mate. And then he says, and then one day I drew a line in the dirt and decided no one would cross it. When he tried, I shot him in the face with my daddy's rifle. I mean, he doesn't quite say that. But it's
no, he doesn't.
But that's exactly what happened, isn't it? That's exactly what happened. That's how we got picked to go into space.
Yeah, by his anti-bullying campaign.
Yeah, he opens up about his wife and
kids. To this kid.
Sarah
appears at the door and just does good. I picked well here, didn't I?
Yeah. His wife and kid died in a tragic boating accident, and he had to sign off on the deaths. He's got this Stegosaurus necklace around him that used to be his kid's.
It's from Dinosaur Monopoly, that, isn't it?
And he'll hand it over if and when the plot stipulates that they have to split up in the future.
That's how I remember him. And when you need to remember me, I'll hand it to you, he says. And Chris is like, this is the best day ever. I've just heard you having weird sex. And now this.
It's all right, because the next day gets even better for Chris.
Well, there is the cut to the Cutter gang, and they seize another group of travellers and commit another sexual assault. And I think, is this where the other woman is introduced?
Yes.
Helen? I can't remember what her
Helen
name is.
And her little girl.
Yeah. Laura.
Laura is the little girl's name, yeah.
Because I have information about that later on.
Do you?
Yes. I didn't know this until I was doing the reviews for it.
Oh, look how smug he is because he's got a fact.
An actual real fact, yeah.
Yep.
They beating up the dad. They shoot two of the children just straight away. No mucking about there. And then, they proceed to sexually assault the woman. While Cutter and Joey Ramone just stand there and laugh. Mexican Joey Ramone stand there and laugh. Again, didn't need to be in it, but I guess, you've got to put titillation in or whatever, isn't it? But back to the main thrust of it, the ongoing dad and lad style situation we have. Many weeks passed.
A gun training scene.
Yes. And he's going, and it turned out the kid was a great shot. Maybe not the ones in the distance, but the ones close up, he was a pretty good shot. And you see him kind of lining up shots against bottles and things, and I'm just expecting, my cans, my precious empty cans.
I think he says something as well, like, he's shit, but when he pulled the trigger, he showed no emotion. I'm like, that's not a good thing.
That's not good, is it? No,
not at all.
It's terrifying.
As long as you're more than 25 foot away, you find, though. You can't hit shit at that distance.
Dave Matthews holds a meeting on how to topple Cutter and his trusty sidekick.
They've
who's
got
called
like a
Getman.
blueprint and everything.
Yeah, Joey Ramone's name is actually Getman.
Okay.
They have a plan, they say, that has to be done in absolute synchronization.
Mm-hmm.
Does it? Does it though?
No.
Well, it didn't work, so
It was possibly one of the worst executed plans I've ever seen. Because
Newman
they
says,
find out that they have.
Let's talk it over 2 more times and then let's just do it.
Newman don't fuck about, mate. He's got bullets hidden in
two more
his
times.
Yeah,
that is requisite.
But we find out that this is where like some of the gang are. And he says the rest of them are just scattered about. Good recon, like that. But this is where the women and children are, implying more than one. Right? So he's going to go and get them all out, like chicken run style. None of that happens. Their main.
If you just splice this with chicken run,
just
the rest of it is chicken run.
But their main secret tactic is 2 lamps on a plank of wood.
yeah, and it works
at the right time in perfect synchronization.
It confuses Joey Ramone and another person. Like of all the camp, that's who it confuses the most. Yeah. So they sneak in, wearing sneakers, and Christopher has a part in this to play as well. Yeah. He's got a watch, so he knows when to activate the thing, whatever his part in the scheme is. Newman and Matthews are going in to like to get the women out, and Sarah's job is to fire a laser sporadically and randomly around the camp.
Yeah.
Well, she's not been trained in it.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
She's not from the future. How could she be trained in it?
No. And she fires it very much as though she's not being trained as well, because she's not taking cover. She's just like legs akimbo on the side of a hill, just pootling along.
That's you don't know how to fire a laser gun.
A third sexual assault scene with Cutter going on as well. So that's yet another one.
Yeah,
it was a bit much.
But she shoots at these guys who explodes the ground just near them, because obviously. And then there's a big door that says there's a B&Q economy shed that has explosives. Keep out on it, and she fires it at that, and it sort of explodes a little bit. And I got to thinking, it must have been great back then making films. Just fucking going like, I'm going to explode this today, like in the desert, and no one's saying a fucking thing, are they?
Well, I've got like a mental image of Christopher Barkett and his dad. And his dad's like, right, I'm going to make this film today. No, Dad, not another film.
Can't we just go to the zoo? Okay, yeah, we'll film Zoo Man. No, I just want to feed the monkeys. Yeah, and then they managed to get Helen and Laura out.
Yeah.
No other women in that room. I'm assuming they've gone to the women's circus thing from that.
Yeah.
And he gets them out, and then as their top secret delaying technique, Christopher, his alarm goes off, and he connects a battery, and a fake car appears. And Mexican Joe. There was no one. It was just a plank of wood with 2 lamps on it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Fake Joey Ramone and another guy go, there they are. Like, they'd be thick enough to put the fucking lights on. But anyway, they go over and go, it's just a plank of wood. We've been had, lads. Well, mate. And that's it. They've got
there's a very quick bit where Dave Matthews gets his leg ripped open by something. And I'm sure Sarah says, he's got his leg ripped open again. And she's patching him up. What?
At the very beginning, the reason he couldn't climb over that really high fence was because he'd hurt his leg. But when you do a close-up look of him and his leg, there was no blood or anything. He was just moving his leg a bit funny.
Big leg acting.
I think one of the Grateful Dead had got him.
Right, okay. Yeah. I didn't see that bit. Just made no sense. It's never mentioned again. Doesn't matter.
Don't worry about it.
He's not infected or anything. He's not going to turn. There's another night of passionate lovemaking after this.
Yeah, all
Enjoy
the women.
it while it lasts.
All the women come to Newman's yard. Yeah. Dave Matthews, none of it. Just him and the boy playing cribbage. Yeah.
Bernard cribbage.
And then
they then go for, so it's a full house now. There's Helen, who likes crossword puzzles on the sofa. There's Laura, who likes fucking around with those bookend things, I think.
Yeah.
Chris, who's just a serial killer in the waiting, that explains his Jeffrey Dahmer character.
He's eyeballing some big barrels to put things in later on in life.
and there's a hot, passionate lovemaking going on. Anyway, he gets tired of this and decides to go for a supply run before he randomly decides that he wants to leave.
Did you see the type of gas that they filled up these canisters with?
Go on.
It was premium, dude.
It was premium,
dude.
Yeah, him and Chris go on they decide to move from Roman Polanski's house because Cutter will come and find them.
And he's nearly as bad as Roman Polanski. Hi-oh.
At least anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not do
that's
that.
the joke.
Yeah. And so they go to get petrol, and in the meantime, Dave Matthews.
What security measures should we have around the house? No, don't worry about it.
Leave all the doors open, mate. Yeah, no one will find us. Dave Matthews, what you doing? Shining my shoes. Why? Well, it's just 'cause it's the post-apocalypse. Got to keep them waterproof. Bonk. Thing is, the guy blackjacks him and then swings it a few more times, like just to make sure he's out cold. And then it is Joey Ramone that does the killing, isn't it? Joey Ramone comes in and he finds Helen doing a puzzler on the sofa in the atrium, does a murder on her, and then we don't know about the rest of it because Newman comes back with Christopher. They're singing like Cats in the Cradle or some shit. I don't know.
Yes, they have no bananas.
And then he comes in and he's like, Dave Matthews, what are you doing?
Down there on the floor. He's always so sleepy.
And he's like, I got bonked on the head repeatedly. And they've nicked my kiwi. And he goes and he's like, oh, no, Helen's dead. Oh, no, that little girl's dead. Sarah. And he goes in and somehow they've just made her bleed out of her ears.
I'd written here, has non-union Dakota Johnson dyed her hair red? Because I hadn't written until now it was non-union Dakota Johnson, but it is. And I was like, she dyed her hair. Oh no, hang on, it's blood. Oh,
it's blood.
right, okay.
Blood coming out of her ears. So I don't know what they've done there. They maybe shot her in the head or something. I don't know.
Daddy, what's that red stuff coming out of Kitty's ears?
And then the first thing Newman does is give her a kiss. Kiss the corpse. Kiss the corpse. And he's like, oh, right, fucking fury now. Like, you've took everything from me. My surrogate family, that little weird kid that was here as well. Newman, come on, we're going. Chris, you as well, I guess. And Newman's like, sorry, Matthews is like, I don't give a shit, mate. You've ignored me. Like, do you remember when we used to look at sunsets together? Yeah, none of that, have you? Since a lady's shown up. Yeah.
He makes this heartfelt statement about not wanting to live in a world where people won't try, with all these weapons on this wall behind him. But did either of you spot one of the weapons was a leaf blower? There's guns, there's a sword, and there was a fucking leaf blower.
Oh, that's
this'll show him.
Oh, my eyes are all dried out. Stop it.
Grit.
I'm going to charge. Cover me.
You can do some Marcel Marceau walking into the wind shit, I guess. But yeah, he's like, right, well, I'm going to go and put a fucking stop to this because Cutter is a bastard man.
Burns the whole house down with the corpses.
Gets his pet kerosene out, and he lines up the corpses. One of their foot twitches when he throws kerosene on it as well.
He's not after revenge; he's after justice.
Justice,
yes,
which is similar to revenge in a lot of ways. But yeah, Matthew says he's not having any part of it because what you're doing is revenge, and that's not.
I'm sure it's in the Californian Penal Code, revenge of a slain family, surrogate family.
Surrogate family. And so he goes, right, well, balls to you. I'm going to do it on my own then. Yeah. He gets in the red Jeep and just drives into the compound and goes, woo!
The bit here I've written, Tommy Chong says he's probably 100 miles away by now.
Fucking it was Tommy Chong.
Just wellies through this little wall
Yeah, it's not much of a compound, is it? It's like it's not Waco, certainly. Yeah, and then he just razzes it round, randomly shooting, throwing like homemade incendiary devices around the place.
This is another scene of people just running in whatever direction they want, and then some quick cuts. And at this point, this is where Sid Haig goes, Newman, and I expected someone to go, "Hello, Jerry."
Animal House.
Yeah, he's just driving around shooting people at willy-nilly. They're shooting at the car, but none of the bullets hit the car because science.
He hides behind a Ford Anglia. I spotted that.
Yes,
and
this was my favourite part.
Yeah.
Well, go on, because you're probably going to say the same thing. Go on.
Well, I don't know the game because the Bee Gees then split up and come for him. It's like that Big Train sketch. Oh, my comment, Shaka.
I was laughing at the fact that he ducks behind that car, and then there's clearly a very swift cut, and then the window bursts from being shot at, and it's clear that he's just ducked out of the way and gone somewhere else. And they do that so many times in this film. I love it.
There's loads of throwing Molotovs and things, and he throws them. He throws them just really weakly in front
when
of him.
When he throws it over the
people,
Ford Anglia, it gets about 10 foot away from him.
The next scene, there's a man stood when it goes up next to him. You can like, what?
He's got a powerful throw. But before that, before he gets out of the car, though, he does set fire to some boxes and then drive slowly through them as well. Yeah. Which is beautiful. That's a stunt. That is
he gets trapped in a little summer house, which was beautiful and yet decayed.
He puts a bomb in the Ford Anglia and then activates his teleport powers because then two of the Bee Gees run in and turn into styrofoam and explode, which is good. I like that. He gets stuck in this little orangery thing as well. This is where he pulls out all these Molotov cocktails from somewhere and starts launching them around the place.
He sets fire with those to some nearby bracken, which creates smoke, meaning that he can escape, which he wouldn't have had to do if he had brought the leaf blower.
He stabs at the air, and this man lurches onto the knife. Quite like
good.
That. Yeah.
There's a couple of bits. Oh, there's a bit where he runs out and there's someone on the roof, and he shoots him, and it's him.
Yes.
Just with a hat on.
Yeah. I tell you
Didn't
what,
even take the moustache off or anything.
The subject of hats, there's more hats in this scene than any other film we've ever covered before this. There's two guys in newsboy caps. There's about 4 bandanas. There was a turban at one point, the kind of hat you'd put on a scarecrow, and a leather-clad Nazi enthusiast type cap.
I think because it was the same 4 dudes over and over again, and they just went, just bring your dressing up box.
Yeah, I will get you.
But yeah, the fact that he shot himself, I thought is that a metaphor?
Yeah,
for him killing a part of himself.
This whole thing made me think about, and this very regional reference is in the Northwest. Of course, you had Camelot. It's just a model.
Yes.
Whereas we had the American Adventure in the East Midlands, which was cowboys, and there was a lot of that men getting shot off the top of things into hay bales, which is exactly what happens here. Except they couldn't afford hay bales, so men just got shot and stayed on the roof.
Yeah, they don't drop off. There's no stunts there. No. He runs around a corner, stabs that dude, and then pulls a gun from somewhere else, starts leathering people. Everyone's firing guns at him, but he's matrixing out of the way, and 1 bullet is enough to take everyone down.
He's got the unlimited ammo cheat on here, hasn't he?
He has got God mode activated, because the only person you ever see reload is Joey Ramone in a bit.
Yeah.
And even then, like, it's a waste of time. He wipes out this camp, and he's chasing down Joey Ramone. They get to like a wooden tunnel where Joey Ramone's at the other end of it, reloading.
Oh, there's that bit with the barn, because Dave Matthews comes up.
He does.
I think it's your choice bit of dialogue, isn't it?
This is brilliant.
Yeah, so he runs up.
Shot.
Yeah. He's beat up because he's run out of bullets, and instead of just shooting him, let's teach him a lesson, lads. Let's beat him up.
He does.
Dave Matthews shows
get
up.
Off me, sort of stuff.
Ow! Which one are you? Which hat's this? They're beating him up, and then Dave Matthews appears and pew 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 shoots all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Newman goes, "Why did you come?" And Dave Matthews goes, "I just did."
And then gets shot.
Gets shot by Joey Ramone.
And I've written famous last words, ? I just
did. was they going to do? Hang around with Chris? He's a dickhead.
Again, without me to put too fine upon it, Joe, you've already said it, but writing dialogue is really difficult.
Oh, it is. It is. But there could have been more there. It's like, why did you show up? Oh, because I realised you were right. No, I just did. Whatever. Right. Come. Oh, I'm dead now. Bye. Yeah. So he goes, oh, Ramon. And he chases him down this corridor, like barn thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then before you know it, he's in Manhattan.
They're on a rooftop.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like, what is going on here? And he's got this, he's from one building to the other, this ledge. And he gets to do one of his trademark jumps, which is just literally stepping across.
It's looking down and going, ooh, that's quite far down, isn't it?
Dangerous.
And then like doing little picky steps and then just walking across because it's
exactly.
not that big a deal.
No. But him and Joey Ramone have like a bit of a gunfight.
I've written here for some reason, it's a me, Rambo. I'm not sure why. I've only just
because he's got that bandana on.
Yeah, why have I only just thought of that now?
He shoots and then he beats the gun out of his hand. They have a bit of a fight, and he knocks Joey Ramone down. And then, like, he starts doing, like, my name is Inigo Montoya sort of stuff to him.
And he spreads jam all over his vest. This red
he
strawberry
shotgun
jam.
shoots him in every single limb.
It shoots him in the arms, and
he can still run and jump.
Yeah.
I mean, the bullets in these guns are enough to kill a man at range.
It's like he's got like a health bar, isn't it? That's all it is.
Well, the thing was, when he shot him in the leg, you can clearly see that like the squib goes off. Like, if he's shooting at his leg, it wouldn't hit the ground, would it? Like, he's not got metal legs. It's not ricocheting off. But yeah, and Joey Ramone's like, oh, just kill me. And he's like, no, I'm going to just fanny about for a bit now, a monologue. Except I'm not going to monologue because dialogue's difficult. And so he goes for his gun, and then he goes to, like, they have another fight, and then he pulls out his jam spreader, and he spreads jam all up, like he said, all on his nice white vest. And he goes, this is for Helen, and this is for fucking Jesus.
And this is for Joe with the gimpy leg.
This is for old man McGillicuddy. And this is for Sarah. And then, like, he pulls it out and he goes, and this is for Laura, and stabs him in the eye. And I went, who the fuck's Laura?
I figured that was Dakota Johnson.
That was the little girl.
Right, okay.
Right,
and
there's
I
more
wrote
to
here,
that. We'll come to that.
Strike 3 for Dove.org.
Oh, this would strike 20,000 for Dove.org. This nipples. God doesn't want men to see nipples. And so but he then is like, oh, I've won now. Cutter got away, but that's the price you have to pay for justice or something.
Oh, right. He was on about getting justice, and he was like, oh, it's a shame Cutter got away. And I was like, the fuck, Cutter got away? And I've written here, and I was writing here. So Cutter gets away until we get Aftermath 2, The Legend of Cutter's Gold. And at that very moment, as I'd written gold, Cutter turns up and he shoots him. And I am not kidding, lads. I literally gasped. It got me so good.
Well, to be fair, because at this point, right, Newman is out there and he's talking to Chris, and he's like, what we did there was justice. It's not going to bring them back, but, we have to be the good we want to see in the world and all this sort of shit. And then, straight out of nowhere, his chest explodes, and Cutter's just like,
hey, fella.
Yeah, and he just walks over and he's like, you absolute menace. I had a whole thing.
Bastard.
Yeah, you little rotter. And he's like, oh, fucking hell, Cutter. You couldn't have just let me go, could you? And he's like, no, you've ruined my whole thing. I had a whole kid going there.
I'll get you and your T1 van too.
And he shoots him again, and he goes, Chris, run! And Chris sort of runs off, like, with his flares flapping in the breeze. Apocalypse flares. And he's like, you're never going to win, blah, de blah. And he's like, right, just kill me then, because I'm bored now. And as Cutter lines up the shot to shoot him, Cutter gets shot by Chris from behind at a range of less than 25 meters, I'm guessing.
Yeah, because, luckily there'd been that bit 45 minutes ago where it was briefly mentioned that the kid could shoot. Yeah,
set the scene for that. Even
and
though
also, we already know
a
he's a cold-blooded killer.
Yes, cold-blooded.
The first one's the hardest, apparently, James. It gets easier after that. Yeah, he
I've
shoots
heard that
him.
in so many contexts.
He shoots Cutter. Cutter dies very easily, whereas Newman gets a full 5-minute speech here again.
Yeah, we had some good times together, didn't we? Remember the time the old curator died, and then Dakota Johnson got murdered, and Spacey Joe, he got killed ironically after saving my leg. They were
Do you remember
good
that
times,
shit?
Chris.
What frying pan you got me?
Good times.
Yeah.
And he dies. And
For all the
kid's like,
sexual assaults we didn't stop because we were too busy fucking drinking and talking about what happens when you die. But we get a lot of that. Well, no one knows what happens when you die, little Timmy.
Yeah.
Maybe you go to Bovine University. And he's like, don't die, Newman. And he's like, I've been shot fucking loads, mate. I think that's my only option. And he's like, all right, then. I'm nicking that Stegosaurus. And he's like, fair enough. Bye. And just doesn't die.
And he goes, please wake up, champ. Please wake up. And I started floods of tears. I can't watch the champ without crying.
Mama. It's Land Before Time, yeah.
Oh, no. Why would you do such a thing?
Yeah. And then, like, Chris starts fucking...
Yeah. Well, you've gone with the Incredible Hulk. I've gone with the end of Highway to Heaven.
Well, it's the same thing. Yeah, he walks away up this highway, but then the voiceover changes to Christopher.
Yeah.
And he's
It was
like,
that day I discovered I was a man.
yeah.
I think it should have been, his voice then transfers to the voiceover of the kid, and it would have been a nice fade transition. They didn't even do that. It's just him.
No.
I've taken
Yeah.
over now.
And then he's like,
He
yeah.
probably plotted the whole thing, the little shit.
He's in the
And-
middle of the
and-
desert as well. He's never going to get anywhere.
He's just going to die.
He's dead. He's very dead. Yeah. Some of Cutter's men survived. He didn't get them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he's like, and that's the day I knew that I had to fight for justice for however long I had left on this earth.
20
minutes,
minutes.
I was going to say, like, a big armadillo's going to fuck you up. So.
Vultures.
And that's the film. That's the end of the film. That's how it goes.
Whoa, what a feast.
It is a rip roarer of a film. It really is. It is a delight. Your scores.
Well, it's in gold territory. I'm going to have to mark it down for the amount of sexual assault that was in there. I'm going to go with 2 gold Fabios. 2 gold Fabios Stegosaurus necklace.
I'm going with 4 gold nips.
Oh, that's too many normally. Unless you're, I'm going to give it.
I'm going to make you wish you had 4 hands.
I'm going to give it a solid 2.5 gold shit frying pans. Because even though it is bewilderingly confusing and there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense and is never referenced again, it's fun, isn't it? Like,
It's fun, yeah.
everyone looked like they were having a very unsafe work environment.
That ship and the ship's interior and how the ship fell into a swimming pool is just genius. There's no other word for it.
You make do the best with what you've got.
And they had nothing.
They had nothing. Let's find out.
So that was The Aftermath, filmed in 1978 and released in 1982 because apparently Steve Barkett decided to reshoot most of the footage with different actors. I reckon he had a falling out with some of them. It went straight to VHS, as you might well imagine. No theatrical release. It was 1982, the same year as Q, The Winged Serpent, or The Big Egg Diaries. Another good 1982 film that we've covered.
Oh, mate. Wow, 82 kicked out some bangers, didn't it?
Did. Apparently, while it was not prosecuted for obscenity, the film was seized and confiscated in the UK under Section 3 of the Obscene Publications Act.
Oh, excellent. So it was a video nasty.
Yeah.
Excellent news. Good.
And one of my favourite facts is that for the role of the museum curator, the filmmakers approached Ray Bradbury, author of Fahrenheit 451, and he presumably just laughed in their faces.
So, no.
and in the end, they picked the actor that played Alf Roberts in Coronation Street.
We've been laughing about how it had no budget. It had a budget of $250,000, which is about $750,000 today. And I've looked this up, and you can get a very weird. You can get 16 weird Stegosaurus necklaces for that.
Okay.
That's at a cost of it's like tens of thousands of pounds.
I'm sure I can probably get them cheaper.
I'm really confused by the description online, though. So they are fossilized dinosaur bone green diamond necklace, 1.16 carat natural fancy greenish yellow grey oval brilliant diamond and green fossilized dinosaur bone vessel necklace with white diamond baguettes and white diamond pave.
Not
everybody likes pave.
AI.
It's there's a jeweler called Monique Pion, I think it's pronounced, and this is on firstdibs.com. So you could get 16 of those. I also looked into survival bunkers on survivalfreedom.com.
You are on a list now.
Yeah, mate. I'm going to say I'm going to order a load of fertilizer at your house and watch you go to prison.
You can get, for that amount of money, you can get 38.6 of your favourite people housed in the cheapest shippable survival bunkers for as low as 20 grand plus shipping. This will come with the bare essentials for quickly getting your bunker up and running. Do not expect a fancy toilet or even a kitchen.
I never do.
Okay.
So that's a shipping container then?
So,
Just every day. That's just
what was that again? Freedom?
It's called survivalfreedom.com.
Okay, I've just googled it.
That's
It's
the
on
low
my
end.
list.
It's the low end of stuff you could get.
I'm going
But I also
to build your survival bunker for 20 grand. It's just a spade, isn't it? They just send you a shovel. Get digging.
or you can get 32 high-end survival kits for the zombie apocalypse. This is on Business Insider. It's called the Zero Kit, which stands for Zombie Extermination Research and Operations Kit.
Wow.
It's got all the knives and bags you could want, and it also includes a battle mug. I don't really know what the battle mug does.
It might be like the one in Chronicles of Riddick that he smashes into that dude's chest.
I'm guessing so. It looks like it's sort of like a knuckle duster handle sort of thing, but yeah.
All the knives I could want. Has it got a cheese spreader?
It's got at least 3 knives, and yeah, it's got like a Swiss Army knife
That's
of
too
it.
good.
And lots of pipettes for some reason. It's obsessed with pipettes. And a
So you
pipette
can-
holder, so you can hold your pipettes.
I don't want to have... Yeah, what if I'm fighting zombies with my battle mug? I don't want my pipette to fall on the floor, do I? You animal.
So take your pick. Which of those 3 do you want? You've got the weird adjective-heavy
I
necklace.
want the necklace that has all the words on it, please.
Mark, for you.
Oh, it's got to be the bunker. It's got to be the bunker. I got a good feeling that my reading tonight at bedtime is going to be survivalfreedom.com.
It's fine. You don't get a kitchen, but you do get to shit in the corner. So
That's just like my
Again,
house.
it's
Then.
just the whole day. I'm going to use my necklaces to barter my way out of sexual assaults in the apocalypse.
Also, because I think it has green in there twice, so greenish and green.
Oh.
Anyway, this was a film that was written, directed, cast, and starring Steve Barkett, star of The Aftermath, and he was known to us through Dinosaur Island, as I said earlier. There's not that much known online about him. I did look him up for a good long while. His last film was in 1997 in a Fred Olen Ray film called Rapid Assault, which is about a terrorist who creates a biological weapon in an abandoned undersea lab, costing 20 grand, no doubt. A government operative is dispatched to confiscate the weapon and eliminate the terrorist. This lone Navy SEAL must undertake a dangerous underwater mission to stop a madman from unleashing a deadly toxin that could destroy the world.
Okay.
Fred Olen Ray in it, so we've got to avoid that at all costs.
Chris Barkett, he, as we said before, later starred as the son, Jeffrey Dahmer lookalike in Empire of the Dark. He now appears to be a production designer. He doesn't do a whole lot, but that's how he's described on IMDb. Apparently, he still owns a lot of the leftover props from this film, except the model of the Nautilus, which he broke while playing with it as a boy.
You
And I
fucking idiot.
I believe that's on the commentary to the DVD, which I now want.
Oh, yeah, me too.
There's a
I don't
DVD.
say me too in the context of this film. It did very badly. Sarah, played by Lynn Margulies, apparently was in a relationship with Steve Barkett at the time, as it comes across vividly. She was later involved with the comedian Andy Kaufman and was with him up until his death. Most of her IMDb credits are related to Kaufman and sort of DVDs after, posthumous DVDs. She's an artist, and I think she released her own album in 2016, which I'm tempted to go up and have a listen to. Because they're usually can I borrow a feeling sort of territory.
All the songs just hot nipple jamboree.
Do you want to do your bit about Laura?
Well, it is one of the reviews I have here. It's quite a long one, but it is quite sort of prevalent. So it is. We're crossing the stream.
I'll skip over her then. I'll skip over.
Okay.
If it's in the reviews, we'll do it in the reviews bit. Cutter Sid Haig, as you mentioned before, was in tons of Roger Corman films, and because of that, Quentin Tarantino revived his career in the 90s, and he achieved cult status. He got tired of being cast as a heavy in these 80s films, and he had roles such as Thug in Two Guys from Muck, Bald Pirate in The Scarlet Buccaneer, and The Warlord in Warlord. In an interview much later, he said, "I felt at the time I had to do that because I had a family, and that's why I did what I did. Was I a successful father? Maybe not. Was I a successful husband? Probably not. Was I a successful actor? Probably not."
Oh.
But he later won 7 awards and 2 nominations.
I think he got better. I mean, he's not terrible in this. He's just not given a lot to work with.
He's not given much to work with.
No.
He's mostly got sexual assault roles, but he does his best.
They're the worst ones to have with soup.
And thus your facts are submerged in the swimming pool of time.
Right, so again, this is it's got cult film written all over it, hasn't it, from top to bottom. So we're going to do the reverse turd sandwich. 1 out of 10. This movie put me to sleep by Baby Snakes 697. 697. Right, this is the one that's about Laura. Actually, I grew up with Laura Barkett, Steve's daughter, who was but a wee tot in this movie. Those of you who remember the line, "This one's for Laura," before Steve kills the villain, well, that's about the only memorable thing this movie has for me. One night in 1983, I was spending the night at Laura Barkett's house in Oklahoma. Her mum and dad Steve were divorced, and he lived in California making low-budget, weak-scripted movies that he threw his kids into for fun. So there must be more, like in his archive, in the Barkett
never released
vault, in the vault. Like the day the clown died, like 40 years from now, I'll be out there. All Barkett, Zooman, the roller coaster mishap.
He's got to have done one of every genre, hasn't he? Because he's already covered 2 completely dissimilar genres here. We've got underground stabbers and this.
Yeah, it's
science fiction,
police procedural, and post-apocalyptic wasteland. Yes, all the classics. I want to see his romantic comedy. And although at that age, 11, an apocalyptic movie was not up my alley, I agreed to watch it with Laura because she said she was in it after all. So was her older brother, Chris, and of course her dad, who was the one who made the movie. I lasted about 20 minutes into the movie, but I do remember being awakened towards the end by Laura telling me, "Hey, you have to see this part. He says my name." Hence the "this one's for Laura" line. Sure, it was interesting seeing my 6th grade best friend and her older brother in real-life movie, and even though I was 11 when I watched it, at least the parts I didn't fall asleep through, I just don't think I could sit through it again, except to fast-forward the parts where Laura and Chris are shown, since I actually know them. The special effects weren't special, and frankly, I was bored to tears. But hey, judge it for yourself. Frankly, I'd be surprised if it's still available on video. It's on DVD, you prick. Steve Barkett would have been better off making home movies as a hobby. Now, Baby Snakes. Stop showing off. Just name dropping. Load of drops there. But, I thought, it's a bit cruel.
I don't know how you can fall asleep through this. I was glued to the screen for about 90 minutes.
Exactly.
8 out of 10. Quite entertaining, actually, by Kamarabi 10. This movie is pretty entertaining. It borrows from The Planet of the Apes, The Omega Man, or The Last Man on Earth, and The Stand, among others.
What? Was The Stand not the
Does it? Although every movie borrows from something. Yet the movie still has a style all of its own. And while it's mostly a very funny movie that was supposed to be serious, it does offer a bit of creativity. Has several scenes that most directors would not have included. The rapes. That's not a bad thing. It is. A good movie for the fatalist. Okay, haven't we done the Fatalist? Worth watching for everything. Worth watching for everyone else, except kids, I guess. There are some scenes of gore, heads explode, a knife through the eye, lots of bullets flying, dead bloody kids, mutants, and decayed bodies.
Dead bloody kids.
You bloody kids off my lawn. And finally in this, 1 out of 10, Sucks Like a Lemon by Lord Zed. Warning. What?
Lemons don't. What?
I thought that was his name for a moment, but yeah.
Sucks Like a Lemon by Lord Zed. Saying this sucks is an understatement. I mean, using nuclear and biological weapons in World War III is way overkill. That's his issue.
Yeah, it did. It killed a lot.
Spoiler warning. Both astronauts, spelled in the way that is wrong on every conceivable level, there's a G in this, are killed, leaving a 10-year-old kid alone in this violent desert wasteland. This is why it fails! ! 1. On a scale of 1 to 10 stars, 10 being best, thanks, I gave Aftermath the negative 100 stars. So he's already broken his own scaling system.
That's why he's known as Lord Zed.
On the positive side, good model work. The devastated cities looked real. On the negative side, everything else! ! So on and so forth. That's Lord Zed does not care for this film, but he likes models. And he's
a
looking
judicious man. A confusing but judicious man.
It's astronauts, like GH. It's bewildering. But that was 1982's The Aftermath. Steve Barkett's masterpiece. Should we say masterpiece?
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels like a bold statement, but he's earned it.
The whole thing is on YouTube. I encourage you to go and watch it because it is a delight. It really is. It's if you like dusty people in the desert, firing guns and exploding shit, get yourself on this. Yeah. Your favourite lines from the film?
Oh, I wish we'd made it to the top for sunset.
You're an astronaut. I don't have to tell you what this means.
Why did you come? Just did.
One day I drew a line in the dirt. I decided no one would cross it. When he tried, we ended up bloody and battered.
Destroyed by atoms and germs. What irony.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
I just did. If you like what we do, please consider giving a small donation to Manchester's Wood Street mission. We know times are incredibly difficult for everyone out there, but anything that you can spare goes a long way towards helping some of Manchester's poorest at Christmas. There'll be links in the show notes. If you can donate, that's fine. You're under no obligation to. This will still be free. We just wanted to use what little tiny reach we had to try and make Christmas better for everyone.